Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Hey guys, today we are here doing a side-by-side camera comparison, and this is which phone is the best dual camera phone. Now this is between the top two dual camera phones currently right now in the market, and that is the Huawei Mate 9 and the iPhone 7 Plus. Now we're going to be going through 5 different categories and an extra one for this dual lens camera phones. And that's going to be low light, details, color reproduction, selfies, and for these two, portrait mode or bokeh effect, whatever you want to call it. All right, now let's get to it. First with the low light mode. Now, as always, this low light mode, we tap the building and see which one does the best in low light. And for this one, neither did a perfect job, but I feel like I have to give it a tie. Let me explain. The iPhone did not have a lens flare, but it has an overall darker shot, so you can't really see half of the building. Whereas the Mate 9 has a gaping lens flare, which means the top part of the sky doesn't look as good, but you can see the top of the building much better as it let through more light. So overall, between these two, both of them are good. Neither one is perfect. Neither one is going to go against the Pixel XL or the Note 7 that we used to have. But overall, both are good. Just neither one really sells over the other because each one has a flaw comparing to the other. Now, we also tried their zoom camera, but pretty much all detail was lost in these two. Overall, with the detail on these two, neither one did really that great, to be honest. And it's because their second camera has a lower f-stop, which makes it so that it doesn't do as good of a quality in detail. So overall, for these two, we are going to call it a tie when it comes to low light. Now, when it comes to detail, that's a little bit of a different story. See, as we zoom in on these texts, we can actually see that although while neither does a perfect job in detail, the Mate 9 seems to have the upper hand, especially on certain titles. If you can see the Nathan Drake collection, I can barely read it on the iPhone 7 Plus, but it's a lot more legible on the Mate 9. Again, you can see that with the Ultimate Edition right here on Injustice cover. You can read it a lot better than you can on the iPhone. Again, neither does a superb job, I would say, but on going on each one back and forth, it seems to be overall that the Mate 9 is doing a better job overall when it comes to detail. So for the detail category, we are going to go with the Mate 9. Now, this is an interesting one. I have never seen two phones do a more similar job than these two on color reproduction. So let's go over two of the main things where they're almost dead alike. And that is that they have the ability for dead of winter, they are pretty much identical. If you look at every face on dead of winter, almost identical on each of these. Now with shadow hunters, you also get pretty much the same exact thing, whereas you get in the different shades of white and gray, you get almost the exact same things on them. So overall, again, pretty much identical. Where they differ a bit is on the sand in the background. Neither one captured it perfectly. The Mate 9 was a little bit lighter than the sand, and the iPhone 7 Plus was a little bit darker than the sand. And Steve Harvey is kind of in between these two. Not quite as orange and not quite as dark as theirs, so we're just getting a little bit of a difference here. Overall, we will call this a tie because as I zoom out, and I've shown a couple of people, you couldn't tell the difference on color reproduction. That's how similar these two are. So overall, this will be another tie just because both do a really good job. Neither one's perfect, although the iPhone, again, is one of the best ones on color reproduction we have here. It's going to be both between the two. Overall, it will be a tie. Now when it comes to selfies, again we have more of a clear-cut winner. And that is, when it comes to selfies, the iPhone 7 Plus is clearly the better one. While neither one does a good job in the background, for those of you who are new, we always do this extreme test with the background, where the left side is meant to show low light and how well a camera does in low light, and both have a lot of noise in the background. And the right side is meant to see how well it does in sunlight and if it washes out the rail, which neither one you can really see the stairs on either photo. So both do a bad job in the background. But when it comes to the selfie overall, the iPhone 7 Plus definitely captures a better color and better skin tone and just clearer compared to the Mate 9. So the Mate 9 is really not meant for selfies between these two. And then finally we have the extra one, which is the portrait mode that Apple boasts a lot about, and it's pretty clear cut. Between these two, the Mate 9 just does so much of a better job compared to the iPhone 7 Plus. The iPhone 7 Plus is in beta, keep in mind, but I mean, they have been toting this on a lot of their commercials, and we went over about how we had so much trouble doing any photo with the iPhone 7 Plus indoors. It is almost impossible to shoot it indoors for a portrait mode shot of a person, not an object. We found out an object can be done more easily, but a person is almost impossible to do. So overall, the Mate 9 is going to take this one, just having obviously the clear, better detail and just better overall photo. By the way, if you're wondering why I'm more mad on the iPhone one, it's because we took about like 5 different photos before it finally worked. Even with that bright of a light, it kept saying low light, try to move, and so we kept moving back and forth, and it was just a headache. So, that being said, overall, when we go to all these comparisons, for low light, it's a tie. Neither one does a perfect job. Mate 9 a little bit overexposed, whereas the iPhone 7 Plus a little bit underexposed. For detail, the Mate 9 just does a bit better job of getting the fine detail in the photo. For color reproduction, you're getting a basically same thing between these two. Both of them are pretty much identical, and overall, they're very similar. The selfie is definitely going to go to the iPhone 7 Plus, just much better selfie quality, definitely the one you're going to go for if you take selfies. And finally, for the portrait mode, it is going to go to the Mate 9, which leaves us at a 2-to-1 comparison with the Mate 9 overtaking the iPhone 7 Plus. Alright guys, let me know what you thought about this video. If you did like it, please give a thumbs up down below. Were you surprised by any of these? Is this what you pretty much expected? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you as always for watching. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.